Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the UFC 215 conference. Today's program is being recorded. At this time, I would like to hand the call over to Matt Redmanovich. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, and thanks everyone for joining the UFC 215 conference call. I apologize to anyone that was on the Conor McGregor call last week where my name was butchered, so this is a big step up for me, so thank you. But UFC 215 Johnson vs. Borg takes place Saturday, September 9th, live from the Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. This marks the first time the UFC Octagon has landed in Edmonton. Joining us today is the UFC men's flyweight champ and pound-for-pound great Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson, who's looking to set the UFC record for most title defenses with a victory next week. And also joining us is his opponent, surging number 3 contender, Ray Borg. Also joining us on today's call will be women's bantamweight champion Amanda Nunes versus number 1 contender Valentina Shevchenko in a matchup that has been destined to happen for what seems forever, but will finally take place on September 9th, live from Edmonton. With that, I'll turn it over to you for your questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, that is star 1 if you have a question, and we'll pause for just a moment. We'll take our first question today from Jack Incarnaco with the Boston Herald.
Thanks a lot. First question is for Demetrious. Demetrious, to what degree does this fight feel special, and to what degree does it feel like any other fight?
Yeah, for me, it's obviously as an athlete and as a competitor who's been doing it for a very long time, it's just another fight. You know, obviously if I'm successful, defending my belt for the 11th time, it's going to be, the all-grandmother of them all. Training's going good, feeling good, enjoying my day out, watching the kids tear up the cul-de-sac, and we're going to go out there and do what I do best, put people away.
You've said that you think, based on your resume and in-ring game, that you're better than Anderson, better than George St. Pierre. So who would you consider number 2 of all time, and why?
I would consider probably that's very tough. I was going to say probably Anderson Silva, but I like GSP too. But I think Anderson Silva did a good job about putting people away when he had the chance to. GSP went out there and did what he had to, use a lot of his wrestling. He didn't really focus on, he would take people down, and he didn't focus on passing guard, posturing, and looking to submit people.
Do you think Jones is out of the discussion now?
Oh, shit, you didn't ask about Jones, though, so, I mean, obviously, yeah, hey, you asked about GSP and Anderson. You didn't put Jones in that topic. If Jones is in that topic, I would say Jones is number 2 definitely, because Jones can do it all. He can strike, he can wrestle, he can submit, and I think Jones would be second. But if it wasn't Jones, then I'll say probably Anderson and GSP. My personal opinion, though.
Sure. When it comes to breaking the record, is your thought that you want to just keep raising that record so it's harder for anyone else to come along and match? Or do we mix it up and do something different at another weight?
We'll see. Obviously, going up and to a different weight class, obviously it's got to be worth my time. I mean, it's not like I've been there before. You look at the landscape of the bantamweight division. Yeah, there's some new cats there, but Dominic Cruz is still number 2. And when I fight at bantamweight, he was the champion. And why not set the bar as high as I can, Right now I'm going to go out there set at 11. And if I can set it at 15, I mean, why not?
One last one for you, Demetrious. What did Dana say to you at the UFC 214 meeting that you guys had that had you feeling better about some of your concerns?
Yeah, like I said, the conversation that me and Dana White had at UFC 214 was just 2 grown-ass men discussing, what happened in their downfall, and we're on good terms now, and we're ready to go out there and put on an exciting fight. I mean, UFC 215, I think it's getting, overlooked. You got a lot of champions, previous champions. Well, you have 2 champions, and you have, a lot of previous champions with RDA. You also, we had, Judo Santos, but unfortunately he got pulled off from USADA, takes out another one. They take out another one. So we're looking forward to UFC 215.
Okay, next question is for Ray. Ray, there's obviously more tape on Demetrious than just about any fighter that's active right now to look at. Can you talk about what, if any, advantage you think that gives you now that he's had so many title defenses?
Yeah, I think what really works to my advantage is that he has a lot of time in the game. He's got so much film to study, yada yada yada. But in all realness, it's also dangerous for him because every fight I've been different. Every fight I've changed. I'm finally starting to come into my own, and it's going to be a big surprise. There's not much out there on me as far as how I've molded to this day. So, I mean, it's been definitely helpful to have every insight from every title fight, every style, combining each style, the way he fought them, so on and so forth. So it's been pretty helpful.
Do you plan to, or have you watched all of his fights ahead of this camp, or is that not how you approach things?
That's usually not the way I've approached things. I mean, to be truly honest, I was never a film study kind of guy. I always used to just let my coaches do the film studying, let me know what they think I need to work on, and so on and so forth. But being at Jackson Week now, working with Greg Jackson and all those great minds, we sit down as needed to study the films we think we need to study. If I'm doing something wrong in training or if I'm doing something right, we'll go back to a specific fight and study that fight. But I mean, I haven't really, that's a lot of fight footage. It's a lot of minutes to just sit there and watch fights. So I mean, I just kind of just take out the fights as needed.
Very good. Next question is for Amanda. Amanda, what, if any, steps have you been able to take to prevent another illness or a flare-up of your condition on the eve of this fight? How can you be sure it won't happen again?
When I come back home, I went to the specialist, and I've been suffering with since infection for long time. But I was be able to control, But these last fights, I don't be able to control, And then when I come back home, I went to specialist, and they started really taking care of this, And right now, I have all the medication that I need, and I'm 100% ready for this fight.
Great. Amanda, did you need to get approval from USADA to use any particular medication that close to the fight? Is that something you had to do?
Yes, for sure. I've been in contact with USADA. Everything my doctor give to me, I call Jeff. Nina contacts Jeff. We always in touch because I really need be in contact with Jeff all the time because I always have to take a new medicine, to get this 100%. And everything's fine, Everything's ready to go. Everything's allowed that I been take. Everything's allowed for USADA, and yeah, I'm doing very good. Actually, I'm 100%.
Great. And finally, for Valentina, what did you have to do to stay warm and ready for this delay? I imagine you obviously peaked your training for that first date in early July. What has it been like to stay ready in this month and a half period here?
I just keep my training at the same rhythm. I take some rest for 1 week, maybe just a little bit more, and just keep going with training. But my lifestyle, it never stopped to train. I train in every day, every time. That's why for me it's totally natural. But of course it's different when you are preparing for the fight. A different type of the training. But I'm feeling totally good with this because I think more it's emotional, and more it's when you put in your head something like, oh, I am overtraining or something like this, it's worse for the sportsman. But when you take it easy and you will do all the best to go to the exactly date of the fight, to be in the best shape you are. That's why it's everything easy. And I have great team around me. They are helping me, and they are my coach, Pavel Fedotov. He always checking on me on my condition, physical condition, everything. So this is for me everything good, and I think double training was a favor for me for this fight.
Thanks, everybody.
Next up, we'll hear from Jeffrey Harris, 411 Mania MMA.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. For Demetrious, is there any concern at all, because Ray Borg has missed weight in 2 of his last 4 fights, that if he doesn't make weight for this fight, it would no longer be a title defense to break your record?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not even worried about that. I'm sure he'll do his job and make sure he makes the weight class. He said he's got a new nutrition, perfect an athlete. So You know, that's my job to go out there and fight. I'm not even worried about that. I'm sure he's going to make it.
For Ray, I mean, you have missed weight for 2 of your last 4 fights. Are you 100% positive that won't be an issue for this fight, considering it is for the title?
Yeah, you know, this is a question that I get a lot, which is expected because I have missed weight twice. But really, I mean, I just turned 24. I never came from a superstar camp, so you know, a few of my weight cuts were more of improper weight cutting, and honestly, just lack of knowledge on how to properly you know, go about weight cutting, staying low on the off season, and so on and so forth. So I mean, I've corrected my mistakes. I've done what I've had to do to get to that 125-pound limit. So I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to make weight easily.
Next question for Amanda. Do you feel any of the backlash you received for missing this matchup the first time when you were ill? What do you think it was unfair? And do you think it's unfair because of that this fight is not the main event, instead it's the co-main event?
I feel they punished me for sure because I know be able to compete. But you know, at the end of the day, I want to fight. You know, I want to fight. Doesn't matter. I think the main event for this fight is great. You know, I think I'm a big fan of Demetrious, and I think they make a right decision to put them to be the main event. And I love it to be the co-main event. You know, the only thing that I want is step in that cage and then getting my work done. You know.
For Valentina, do you think this delay will benefit you more or possibly benefit Amanda more, or do you think it even matters?
I think this delay, for me, it's totally fine because now I feel in me like much better form that I was for June 8th, and I feel like double strong and no one like preoccupation in my mind. So I just waiting for the date, September 9, and do like great fight, and take from this fight everything and just make very good show.
And for Amanda, has this made you hungrier and more eager to fight Valentina and maybe prove to her that, I mean, you are the champion, and you know, you beat Miesha Tate, you beat Ronda Rousey. Do you think people are maybe starting to forget how much of an elite fighter you are and champion you are?
Honestly, like, I'm not really worried about what people think, you know. Like, I'm a fighter. I trained my whole life for this, you know. I'm a fighter, and I will keep training. Whatever happens, I will keep doing the same thing that I do right now. Train and fight. Whatever people's opinions, you know, it is about me. And the thing is, like, this delay was like awesome. I'd be able to really recover, you know, and find out really what is going on in all these things that I always have. Soon I travel. Soon I go to another area, another climate. I always have this kind of pressure in my sinus. Honestly, I was to worry about a lot. Think something's wrong with me, you know. And I'd be able to get back home and then go to the specialist, and then they be able to help me, you know, getting me like 100% to step in the cage is 100%, you know. I think every fighter training and one step in the cage 100%, no like 50%. I think I make the right decision, you know, no fight, and then get it everything ready for the next step. And then now is no time to waste, you know. We're gonna step in September 9, 100% to get this job done.
Thank you all, and good luck at UFC 215.
Next up, we'll hear from Dave Diebert, Post Media Network.
Hey, guys. Thanks for the time. First one for Demetrious. You, at this point, you know, and again, it sure seems like it now, like you very relaxed. You've been through this, you know, dozen times at this point. could you compare just what fight week and what fight camps feel like now for you? Not necessarily the fight prep itself, but all the stuff that comes with it. The media, any nerves, anxiety, stuff like that, and how it compares to, maybe your first title fight or your first title defense.
Oh, well, it's definitely night and day. I remember my first title defense. I won the belt taking on John Dodson in Chicago in 2013. So it's a huge thing. Now it's just, repeating process. I've done this, 11 times already. And I've only lost one title fight. That's against Dominic Cruz. But now I've got it onto the science where it's just about relaxing and just saving all the energy for the big upcoming fight. And now, I spend the time with my family out here just watching the kids. I got today's my day off. I'll get Sunday off. And I only have to train, 3 more times to end the week up. So now it's always about just rest and just make sure the body's sharp, because I'm not going to get any better, peak shape as right now. Now it's just making sure I go into the fight at 100%.
So you talk about that first title defense. How, if you could, give some examples of, maybe you look back and you wonder why you did that, or, dealing with all your out of the cage commitments, calls like this, all your other, the pressers, just everything. What do you look back on and, kind of shake your head at the, at the rookie handling business back then?
Well, I would say the rookie handling business back then, he did a good job because he was very successful at defending the title. That's a lot of people don't realize. There's a lot of people, they get the belt, they become the champion, and they think that's the hardest thing to do in the sport. No, it's very hard to, rack up, 3 or 4 or even 10 consecutive title defenses and making weight every single time and making sure you don't miss your flights, you do all your interviews, et cetera, et cetera. So, when I look back in that fight, against John Dodson, he was the hardest hitting flyweight in the division. He was in my opinion, probably one of the most athletic men I've ever fought in my life. And going out there and having a war against him, I think it did the best ratings on Fox, about 6.5 or 5.5 million viewers. So I look at that one and I just smile, and it was a great title defense, the whole lead up to it. And back then, 2013, we weren't, UFC wasn't really focused on media heavy press conference. I don't believe we had a press conference before the fight. So, but yeah.
All right. Thanks, Demetrious. Valentina, where were you during a fight week in July? Sort of that exact time when you found out that the title fight was off. Where were you, and who told you? How did you find out?
At that moment, I was in my room in the hotel, and the girl, she came to make my hair for the fight, and it was, I think, around noon, sometimes like this. First, my manager called to my coach, and he said that something going on. But from the first notice, I was like, okay, something happened, but it's not my deal, because every time before the fight, something happened. And I thought that I have to be same concentrated on the fight. But when he called again the second time, and UFC already contacted to my manager, it said that fight won't happen. And I was like almost prepared for the fight. It was like, I could not believe for maybe like 1 hour that it really will cancel the fight. But of course, you cannot do nothing when you receive this notice. Just like thinking what you will do the next step.
How long did it take you to get past that? I imagine combination of shock and disappointment. Was it a few days? Was it longer than that before you really were able to wrap your head around the fact that the fight wasn't happening then?
No, I cannot say that it took so long because I'm a fighter and I'm every time like I have different and difficult situation on my fight and I have to make decisions very quick. That's why I'm this kind of person that if I have any problem in front of me, I try to resolve it. That's why I'm not put me in like suffering or something like this because I'm a fighter. I knew that in the future I will have the date, I will have this fight, I will have this. I didn't know how much it can take to get another date, but I knew that it will come. That's why I put like, okay, it's not time for any reason right now, so I have to continue. And I did I took some rest because I knew I will have to start again my training camp and of course when we receive the date and we come back to the training I start to train again, but of course it's not how to start from the zero. I already was in my good shape and then I start to train and do whatever I have to do for this fight September 9th.
Okay. All right. Thanks you guys very much.
Thanks very much.
Akhilesh Ganavarapu from MMAindia.com has the next question.
Hey guys, greetings from India. My first couple of questions go to DJ. First, Demetrious, this will be a special occasion for you regarding the number of title defenses. The importance seems to have taken a backseat after all the Mayweather-McGregor saga. Is there a part of you that feels maybe this fight could have been promoted better, as it will be a historic fight and night for you?
You have to ask that one more time. I apologize. My son was talking over you.
No worries. So this will be a special occasion for you regarding the number of title defenses. The importance of this fight seems to have taken a backseat over the past couple of weeks after all the Mayweather-McGregor saga. Is there any part of you that feels maybe this fight could have been promoted better, as it will be a historic night for you?
Well, at the end of the day, it's still going to be a historic night for me, whether I win or lose. I plan on winning. So with that being said, I'm not going to let McGregor or Mayweather, they're 6.5 million pay-per-view buys, watered down my thing, or the UFC advertising UFC 216 instead of UFC 215 during the Maymac pay-per-view. That just shows you where their mind is at right now when it comes to promoting. So that's a question you ask Dana White. But for me, I'm focused to go out there and do what I do best.
Right, and Ray Borg recently said he would retire you from the sport at UFC 215. What do you make of his statements and him saying that you're at the end of your career?
Oh, he ain't retiring shit. I'm just getting started. I'm 31 years old. I'm feeling better than ever. Training's going easy, and I fought the hardest hitting, the most athletic guys in this division. He's a tough competitor, and we'll see where his mouth is, after the fight night.
All right, fair enough. Next couple of questions go to Ray. You're still very young and recently spoke about surprising yourself with regards to where you are at such a young age. Now, you also emphasized on DJ being a different fighter now because of his age. Do you see the youth and exuberance giving you the upper hand in the fight?
Of course it's going to be in my hands. I've never been in any crazy wars. I'm rarely hit in my fights. And there's a reason for that. People ask me why I never struck in my earlier fights. How come I never boxed? How come I never showed my striking skills? And it was really what for? If I'm going to go in there at 20 years old and 21 years old and go in there and start getting into wars and beat my body up, how good am I going to be later on down the road? I've accomplished more at this age than majority of guys have, while they're 28. So I'm so young. I'm still really. I have all my fast twitch still. Nothing's really died down as I've gone through these fights. So I'm gonna be a lot younger. I'm gonna be a lot healthier, and I plan to use that to my advantage.
Right, absolutely. Also, DJ has defeated a lot of elite fighters, including Cejudo and Wilson Hayes. How have you assessed DJ's game, and was there anything different that you did for this camp?
Is there any way you can repeat that, please? You kind of cut out halfway through it.
DJ has defeated a lot of elite fighters, including Cejudo and Wilson Hayes. How have you assessed DJ's game, and was there anything different that you did during this camp?
I did just a couple little bit, just a little thing different, just to make sure I can go 25 rounds easy. I can naturally go 3 rounds like nothing, just a regular old fight camp, but we stepped it up just to make sure that 5 rounds is just going to be as easy as 3 rounds is. And, I'm not Cejudo. I'm not Wilson. I'm not just a jiu-jitsu player. Wilson's just a jiu-jitsu player. Cejudo's just a wrestler. I've been training strictly MMA my whole life, so I can combine the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu and the boxing and everything. So, I've just pretty much done everything the same. Obviously, some tweaks in fight camp just to make sure we're prepared, but none of those guys were me.
All right. I'd like to throw this next question for both the women. Considering the new TUF season just started and is bringing in more female talent, what do you make of the exposure and its importance, especially now that there is no Ronda Rousey? If I may, Amanda, could you please go first?
Speaking about the exposure for the MMA now. Oh, I think he's growing a lot, especially now after Ronda Rousey retired. UFC starts to look up to all those girls in the division, and UFC know we 135 have a lot of talent, and all those girls put a show every time you step the cage. I think this is the reason the women's MMA has been growing so fast. And I'm in a part of that, I'm a new champion, and I've been put a show for the fans, and every time we were still looking for all those girls in the division, especially for the champion, and women's MMA is going to keep it growing. Hello?
Akalash, did you have anything further?
I guess we lost him.
And we'll move on to Damon Martin with MMAweekly.com.
Hey everybody, my first question is for DJ. DJ, you've talked about this record for a long time, getting to this point. And I know everyone always wants to ask you about, moving on to new divisions and doing different things. But, in your mind, do you feel like this is a record that you want to set to a place where no one... excited to try to find a way to beat you, to beat the guy, to beat Demetrious Johnson.
It cracks me up because everybody's always keeps throwing my name out of their mouth, and for me, I'm just focused on doing what I do best, is just cleaning house in my division. And everybody, everybody in UFC, everybody in the world says he's the most important fighter. He doesn't sell any pay-per-view, but everyone wants to fight me. So I don't understand why they keep saying that. But yeah, that makes me happy that everybody keeps bringing, putting my name keeps coming out of their mouth, and obviously, if that
you're at right now, thing happened a second time, and obviously George has been out of the sport for a few years. We got to see how he comes back. In your own head, do you feel like you really have defined yourself as the number one guy in the sport, the number one pound for pound fighter in the sport?
That's that opinion is always going to be persuaded, whether John Jones is innocent or guilty, whether GSP comes back and blows the bricks off my and their perception of the sport and what I've gone out there as a champion, finished multiple title fights. I'm always going out there looking for the finish, whether the opponent is, dangerous. And I've gone 5 rounds with people, and I don't even have to submit them.
Things about him that are impressive to you, John Jones, do you feel like he's that guy?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I like about Ray Borg. He's a young guy, talented. But yeah, Ray Borg, my buddy.
Hi, this is for Ray. Ray, the outcome better than John Dodson, your Dim, and what he's able to share about DJ. How helpful has John been in your preparation?
John Dawson's been, very helpful. He's the only person to, be in there with him for pretty much an hour. So if anybody knows him better, it's going to be John. And, John's been nothing but great help for this fight camp. He's been there throughout the whole thing. He's, given me his input, done what he has to do to help me get prepared. So it's been great having John in the gym along with, Greg, who's also has prepared to fight DJ before. So, the things that they didn't do with John, I'm going to plan on going in there and doing them.
And for DJ, is that a concern of yours at all, that John knows you so well and is able to share some things with Ray, even though their styles are not necessarily the same?
Not at all. Honestly, anybody can go out there and watch, 50 minutes of me, John Dodson. Obviously, me, John Dodson, we share the octagon, and they do have different skill sets. I would say I've grown from my last John Dodson fight, and you can see from the first John Dodson fight to the second John Dodson fight, even though they knew what I was going to bring to the table, I was able to shut his whole entire game down. And, like I said, after I got done that fight, I was prettier than a motherfucker, even though I fought the hardest hitting guy in the flyweight division. So I'm not worried about it at all. I'm looking forward to it and to see what Greg Jackson's come up this time, to see if I can stop what Greg Jackson's, trying to do.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Next up is Yvette Sanchez, the Sporting Nation.
Hi, guys. So this one's for DJ. Obviously, we know if you win, you're going to be the longest reigning UFC champion. What have you done differently, or have you done anything differently to ensure that you keep that title?
Well, the biggest thing is always training and keep on getting better. I've been working on a lot more of, I would say, a little bit of everything, but I've been focusing more on boxing just because the era we're in now in mixed martial arts, how you're starting to see, athletes, like Conor McGregor, Cody Garbrandt, Stephen Miocic talk about going over and boxing. So I've had to study boxing a little bit more about how they control distance and footwork and whatnot. But and overall, obviously keep on working on my overall skill set. We had Bibiano Fernandez in town. Working on my jiu-jitsu. We had Victor Stolias, which is a 5-time world kickboxing champion in town. He was helping me out. He's from the old school days when kickboxing championships were 12 rounds, not, 5 rounds. So just working all together, sticking with the same team, Matt Hume, Brad Kirsten, always working on getting better and just to prove myself that way. UFC 215, I go out there and submit my legacy as the longest reigning defending champion.
Okay. And piggybacking off of that, do you have a specific reason?
None of your goddamn business.
Exactly. So obviously he's looking to make history. If you win, what are you looking to do with this title?
If I win, I'm going to fight DJ again. I mean, that he's one of the greatest for a reason. He's defended his belt 10 times. There would be no reason why if I beat him, I wouldn't fight him, again. I imagine a great champion like himself will get an automatic rematch. So, I'll go home. I'll fulfill the promise that I made to my niece, which is take her to Disneyland, and then I'll go right back home and go right back to the board and, learn how to beat DJ in an even more impressive fashion.
All righty. Well, thank you. And then this one, Sandy, you felt that you were formed. Not easy fight. You did not regret your decision. Not easy fight.
When I received this notice, of course, I was upset. But I knew that the day will come. It will be the same fight, the same opponent, and it will be like the same preparation. That's why I put my focus on my mind on the future. I was not upset for a long time because I knew I cannot be in this emotion, to have this emotion, all this stuff like this. That's why I just rest a little bit. I put my mind together and continue my training and preparation. And when I received notice to have the fight on September 9 in Canada, it was like, okay, now now I have the new target, and I'm ready to go. I will do my training camp the same hard that I did, maybe more harder. And here we are, just again, like just few days before the fight. And I hope it will happen in 100% with opponent strong on 100%, and it will be good fight, good show. And I put all my heart, all my spirit, all my fighter character to show the great fight and do whatever I have to do to win this fight.
I want to say and then piggyback.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
I want to say something.
Yeah.
You know, this is the fight that I want. Not having nobody in this division that I know wanna fight, you know. And I told Shelby have to be Valentina. You know, you have to reschedule this fight. I wanna fight Valentina. I don't wanna you schedule it nobody else in this division. Valentina is the one deserve this match, you know, this matchup. Valentina is the number one contender in this division, and this is the fight that I want. Please reschedule this fight and then let's make this happen, you know. And he listened to me and then give it a next date, you know. And this is the thing. I don't know, people thinking like I was scared or something like that. No, I'm the one who wanted this fight. I'm the one asking for Sean Shelby reschedule the fight right away, you know, because I don't want to fight Valentina 50%. I want to fight her 100%. And that day, I know it was 100%. I don't know, people still question about that, you know. I never is going to run away. I'm a champion. I have to defend this belt. Whatever step in the cage against me, I will fight because I have the belt. I'm number one on the planet. And I want to stay here. I have to keep proving. And for that, I have to prove it against somebody, you know. And Valentina is the one that I want to fight next. Nobody else in this division.
Yes, I think as an athlete, you can tell that you know yourself best, and you know when you will reach, you know, your full potential. So then this question is gonna be for both of you ladies. Considering the last time you two met in the octagon, it was considered quite a close call that Amanda dominated in the first half and Valentina dominated in the second half. Was there anything that you ladies did differently to make sure that either one of you dominates either the whole round or there's a submission or anything like that?
You know, for me, like, I beat Valentina by unanimous decision, you know. I beat Valentina 2 rounds clear. If you watch the fight, if you go right now, watch all the fight again, Valentina coming back in the third round. She beat me in the third round. I got this. I give it to her the third round, but I beat her 2 rounds in that fight. And I beat her by unanimous decision. And back home, fix my mistakes for that fight. You know, I watch that fight again, of course. I go over and over in my mistakes, the good things that I did, and walking, and then be ready for a next step, you know.
All righty. And Valentina?
We only have time for one last question.
You know, for me, I don't worry about this last fight. I don't worry at all because this fight, it will be totally different fight. And of course, it will be totally different situation. All this, like what happened in the last fight, it never will happen again. And I know for sure that I will go to the fight and I will fight from the first round, from the very first second to the very last second. I will not wait nothing. I will looking for finish the fight as soon as I can. I know my strength. I'm very sure in my power. That's why I'm just last days in my preparation. I will keep me in my best sharp form, and I will show the great fight. This is what I'm sure in 100%.
All right. Well, good luck, ladies and gentlemen, on UFC 215. Thank you, guys.
And that is all the time we have for questions. I'll hand things back to Matt for any additional or closing remarks.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for the athletes, Demetrious Johnson, Ray Borg, Valentina Shevchenko, for joining us today. We need to get some of that Oscar music, where they play you off the stage to end these a little more on time. So thank you, everyone, for sticking with us, and we'll see you in Edmonton next Saturday, September 9th. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude